Are you gonna do your cool intro music again this time?
Well, no, we don't have intro music.
The little songs you were singing?
No, that's copyright.
Bam, bam, bam.
Now we're just infringing. All right.
How are we infringing?
Copyright infringement. It's a word. I've looked it up.
Do you know what? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I looked at you and I was like, I lost my train. Let's write music together.
Do I know?
Do
What?
I know?
Oh boy.
Do you know? It's like one of those meme songs that got popular on YouTube in the mid 2017 era.
Do the intro before you forget.
Hello and welcome back to Mindless Prattle. We're your hosts. I'm Ripley, the better one, and that's Jordan, the other one, and we're here to prattle on mindlessly and cackle in your ears.
Oh,
welcome back.
Boy, it's you just starting off with a whole mess of things, huh? That's
Hey.
Hey.
Listen.
Yeah.
They know what to come here for. I can't talk today.
Do you know what to come for? Is it here?
I had a migraine, and every time I get a migraine, like my speech gets so messed up, as if I needed help with that.
Yeah.
But did you want to go first? Do you have like specific things? Because I did make a list this time.
Oh, you have a list? I am very impressed. All right. I'm very excited that you have a list. Let's go with it. What's topic number one on your list?
First,
this like, did you organize this list into like the most exciting to the least exciting? Or is it just this is the order
These
it happened in?
These are the things that I want to talk about, and I'll talk about them in whatever order.
Good. Let's go.
Okay, first I'd like to complain about the rude guy at work today.
Okay,
listen. Today was busy as fuck. It's just today we're recording this on a Sunday, right? It was super slow most of the time on Sundays. Today was busy as fuck. Ran out of this certain type of coffee, and we don't brew it after a certain time. And this Uber driver comes in, and he's here to pick up an order, but he places an order while he's there. He's like, yeah, I want to get a pour over. I told him,
Sure.
okay, a pour over takes like 3 to 5 minutes. And he said, yeah, that was fine.
You looking at me like I'm supposed to, I understand what 3 to 5 minutes is. Yes.
He said that was fine. And then the motherfucker keeps coming back over every 2 seconds, like staring at me, like looking at me like I've murdered his cat or something. Like just the most aggressive look on his face. Like he was so clearly mad. Yeah. And then I said, oh yeah, it's almost done. Because like he kept looking over. And he said, well, I have this order. I really have to go.
Well, why did you?
Well, there's only a little bit of space in the cup. Do you want me to finish it, or do you just want it the way it is? And he said, I'll just take it like it is. And I said, okay, here you go. Have a great day.
So petty about it.
No, Joanna said I sounded really nice. Like I was really nice to him, and I was like,
you might have been.
I didn't feel nice.
Yeah.
I was just being like neutral because he ticked me off so quickly. I was like, how are you going to come in here and demand I make you something? And when I explain to you it takes some time, you're going to be like, yeah, fine. And then get pissed off when it takes the same amount of time that I told you it would take.
I feel like people do that a lot. They don't grasp the concept of you telling them it's going to take a few minutes because it's longer than normal.
But also, if you're picking up an order at a coffee shop for whatever delivery service, why would you place an order if you care that much about your time?
Yeah, there's also that too. Like the only time I would have done that is if I went in to pick up an order and they're like, oh, the order that you're waiting on is going to be like 10 minutes. I'd be like, okay, well, can I get like a coffee in the meantime? And they'd be like, oh yeah, sure. It'll be like $2 or whatever, you know?
He could have chosen literally anything else and it would have come out in like a minute. Okay. Yeah. Like, but he wanted that fresh cup of coffee brewed only for him. And I just, everybody was in a bad mood today. I don't know what's going on in the universe, but like people were not acting their best selves.
And then you just brought that energy to HEB.
No, I was feeling good at HEB, and then towards the end, I just started getting really overstimulated. There were so many fucking people in there today.
Yeah, it's Sunday in Texas.
That's why I'm glad you're there.
At HEB.
Doing it alone is way worse.
Oh, well, that's why you were like, oh, just let me know. This morning when you left, you're like, let me know if you need anything from HEB. I'll pick it up on the way home. And I was like, well, I kind of need like a bunch of stuff. And I was like, I'll just wait.
Yeah, I like going with you better. Your turn.
My turn? Mm-hmm. I thought you had something else on your list.
I do. I just didn't know if you wanted to go back and forth.
This ain't a dictatorship. It's fine.
Speaking of.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Unit 731 of Japan?
of Japan? Like, no, is it like a police unit or something,
No,
or
okay.
like?
Oh my god. So everybody knows about like the Holocaust and like that sort of stuff.
Hold on, no, no, no. Let's back up here. What do you mean that sort of stuff? Are you implying that there's more than one Holocaust?
No, like the things that went on during the Holocaust, like
Oh, like
the experimentation,
okay,
the
very
degradation.
very much different than the things like the Holocaust.
Tell me why I learned at 26 years old, not in school or anything, Japan had the same exact thing going on. And it was called Unit 731. And it was like where they would send all the people they wanted to experiment on. And like I need to look up the stats. I was
I
gonna do
didn't know
some.
the name of it, but I definitely knew like about it. Like they're not like nobody was great during either of the world wars about not torturing people to
Yeah,
further the
these are
amount of people
like,
that they could then kill.
what Germany was doing was pretty bad. This stuff I was
Was
like,
pretty bad
it was
on the
fucking
scale of badness.
horrific. This is somehow even worse. Like I didn't think like they were testing like biological and chemical weapons on people, and it said
Yeah, so was Germany.
they would refer to the people that they conducted tests on as logs.
Yeah.
They did disease injections, controlled dehydration, biological weapons testing, hypobaric pressure chamber testing, vivisection, which is when you cut into somebody who's alive,
I feel
organ
like half
harvesting.
of them, half of that list would also still apply to the Germans.
Yeah, and then one thing that I found out was half of the people that they experimented on came from like the children that the soldiers would like rape women that were in these camps, and then they would let these children grow up and experiment on their own children.
What do you mean by let them grow up? Because are you talking about during World War II? Because the war wasn't that long. You're experimenting on like 4 or 5 year
Yeah, so
olds.
it was in the world. So they would like experiment on their own babies, like literal three
Okay.
months old
Okay.
and stuff.
That's okay.
Um,
That's very different from letting them grow up. That's very like we're experimenting on infants.
yeah, and then
It's very different.
at the end of the World War, they killed literally every single person in these camps to keep it a secret.
Well,
Every
yeah.
single
Why?
person.
That's what the that's what the
But
Nazis
like
tried to do too. What do you
some
mean?
people there were like no survivors of this though. Like literally, like that some
Look,
people got out of
Japan's more
concentration camps.
efficient than
Oh my god,
Germany.
that's a horrible way to put it.
No, no. Here's what it is Germany is busy fighting like a two front war with us, and everybody else in Europe, and fucking against Russia. Japan's on their own little island. They got much more time to just kill off people in
Yeah,
camps.
and I found what I
Like
found an
much less
interesting
going
fact.
on.
The Soviet Union actually tried the Japanese criminals and like held them accountable for these crimes and shut down these camps. The United States then gave immunity to these scientists and like
Yeah.
let them come work for them.
Same thing with the like German scientists. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we have atomic
It's
weaponry.
so fucked up
Like,
though. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like
that's why I like watching dark history.
it's not only like the Germans and the Japanese that were doing dark shit. Like yeah, they were not great at all, but it was also like we were like, yeah, you developed a lot of ways to kill the Jews, but can you make it so that we could use it against Germans and we won't kill you? And then all of the scientists were like, yeah, we could do that. Like,
It's
why
just
not?
like I got into like deep into here, but yeah, and then in 2002 they finally ruled that Japan had committed biological warfare in China and slaughtered people. Like it took them that long to admit it.
Oh yeah, no, it's
But I was on TikTok scrolling and I saw like a quick video pop up about it and I deep dived into it. Like I had to learn more. I do like learning history. That's why I like watching Bailey Sarian's Dark History podcast.
yeah.
Like God, every week I'm just learning things and I'm like, well, how could I not know about this?
Dude, there's so many. Like we have I liked watching what was it? What was that animated show? I don't know if we've talked about it or not. It was just called What the Fuck 101. And that show was very informative, but you're like, I don't want to know these things. Like it's it's
Yeah,
not great. And I'm like,
that's why I follow eye bleach on Reddit. Because sometimes I'll
yeah,
read
I
something
see
so
that.
horrible, I'm like, my eyes need a break from that.
Like
But
they had there was a guy, what is it? There was like, a self-experimentation was one of them where a doctor and his associate were trying to prove that what was it, cocaine and some like a mixture of cocaine and something else was worked as a what do they call it, anesthetic.
mhm.
So like you can like a localized anesthetic, so they would just inject this dude like his assistant, he would be injected in the spine with like cocaine and like amphetamines and shit. And then to test it, the doctor would just hit him with random
Oh my
objects
god.
to see if he could feel it. And like in the animated show, like they don't show a lot of it, but they'll show him like he was breaking his bones, he was like stomping on his like testicles. And the guy's like, nope, I can't feel it at all. This is great. I feel
Him the
wonderful.
next day.
And
Oh my
then
god.
and then they were like, and then he later went on to murder the doctor. And you're like, well, yeah. Like, obviously he
I
would do
bet.
that.
That's the kind of
Like,
thing that fucks
that's
up your whole
crazy.
life.
And one of my favorite, there was the whole episodes are like, they're all themed. Like the first episode's about like parasites, and there's some episodes. Well, this one was the self-experimentation, right? Of like furthering science by testing things on
Yeah.
yourself.
That's how we cured ulcers, right?
And yeah, oh, sure.
Oh, I'll talk about that in a minute then.
But one of the guys, well, they walk in and they're, all these students are like traumatized. It's like the Magic School Bus, but like they just get brought to different points in history to learn like terrible
Oh my god.
things. That's what it is. And so they get to this dinner party, right? And they've seen these terrible things. And like, what's this guy gonna do? What is your experiment? And he goes, oh, we're just sitting down for dinner. Would you like to join? And they're like, just dinner? He goes, yeah, we're just having dinner. And so they sit down. And they're like, okay, we'll have dinner with you. And then he opens up a plate and he goes, what did you get? And the guy opens up. He goes, I don't know what is this? And he goes, it looks like steel wire. I go, what are you having? He goes, I have glass marbles. And so the dude, just the scientist, he eats these glass marbles. And he goes, why are you eating glass marbles? And he goes, oh, hang on. And he gets on top of the table and he drops his pants and then he just shits on the table. And he goes, let's see what's in here. And he looks through and he goes, oh, gravel, good. And then
Oh my god.
he gets like a notebook and he writes down the time and he goes, perfect. It takes like 18 hours for gravel to pass through your system. And they get in this little argument where the student, he's just like, but why would you eat gravel? And he goes, so you know how long it takes to pass through you. He goes, right, but why would you need to know that? And he goes, in case you ever eat gravel.
Why don't you just study a toddler?
It's so funny. They keep going back and forth. He goes, but why would you need to know that? He goes, in case you eat gravel. Like the scientist was so mad at him for not understanding why you would
That's
eat
so
gravel.
funny.
It's like,
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's how we found the cure to ulcers, because they didn't know what caused them. They're
mhm.
caused by that H. pylori bacteria. So
Okay.
this guy infected himself with the H. pylori bacteria to prove that was what caused ulcers, and then use that to figure out how to cure them.
Yeah. That's all right. That's
Not my
fun.
first choice, but
No,
hey.
no, I'm all for it, but have fun with that. I just remembered one of the other guys in that episode. He was trying to prove that tuberculosis didn't spread through, um, it didn't spread through the air, and it wasn't like communicative, right?
Mhm.
So how do you guess that he went about proving that tuberculosis was not spread through?
Please tell me he didn't eat and drink things from people with tuberculosis.
So people were dying of tuberculosis,
Uh-huh.
and he
Vaccinate your kids, please.
would go around and drink and eat the bodily fluids of people that had
How did I know you were going to say
tuberculosis,
that?
so, including their vomit and blood and their diarrhea. Boy, it was a fun time, and that's how they proved that tuberculosis didn't spread through bodily fluids. Mm, I know, right?
Yeah.
What a
Um,
fun time.
in other news, have you seen that Stardew Valley got a really big update?
Got a big update?
Mm-hmm.
No. I haven't
Yes.
been following Stardew Valley for a while.
Okay, so I actually do want to start a new game because they added a new farm type where you start out with chickens.
Okay.
So you can have a coop automatically.
Why?
I don't know, just
Just for
it's just a new
funsies?
farm type,
All right, sure, sure.
It's the Meadowlands Farm, a grass and animal focused design for animal ranchers. It grows a special bluegrass that animals love and will raise animal hearts faster, improving the eggs and milk they give you. But there is less farming land available. But I
Mhm.
think it'd be great. There are new crops as well, but you can't buy them in stores. You have to dig them up from different spots.
Mhm.
Um, they added new tabs to help showcase things, and then they've added a lot more content like booksellers, new festivals, like a new festival and 2 mini festivals.
I always I think that the festivals should be a button that you can turn on or off in there. Because there's some days where I'm just like, I just want to play the game to fish, but
Yeah.
you can't walk through town because there's a fucking spring egg festival going on, and then it skips the whole day. So now you're out a day, and you have to go to this fucking festival where you don't get a whole lot done.
I do
I
wish you
feel
could
like you
choose because
should
what if your farmer's
choose which ones.
antisocial?
I feel like you should be able to choose at least which one, or like as a whole, if they're on or off, or if you can be like, nah, I don't want the egg festival, but I like the summer festival, so I'll go to that
Yeah.
one. You know,
I think what I really want, listen, Eric, concerned ape, if you ever hear this, we need to be able to date the wizard.
Oh my gosh.
We need the wizard.
We don't.
We need the wizard. Why is he not marriageable?
Why have the kid? Why can't you just go in and wreck marriages in that game? Why
You
can't I
can't.
just?
There is one you can.
Why can't I just date anybody I want and then marry everyone at once? Doesn't make any sense. It's my little village.
Actually, if you date everybody who's dateable, you get a cutscene about cheating on them.
They all show up at like the
saloon, yeah.
bar. Yeah, I've seen that.
But yeah, there is a marriage you can break up. I think it's Jody and Kent, the soldier guy. You can romance Jody while he's gone, and then like marry her and break up the relationship.
I know. I think that's why they named him Jody.
What is that? Is that like a thing?
It's a military thing, yeah.
Oh, what does it mean?
It means like while you're like if you like say we're married, right? And I get deployed, the common name that is used is, oh, while you're deployed, your girl is back home fucking Jody. Like that's the term that's used.
Fucking Jody? Where does that come from?
Like that's just the name that's used, right?
I need to figure out the origin.
I don't know the origin off the top of my head, but that's just the term. That's what it's called. Like it's like if you're away for a long time for the military.
It is thought to have originated from the Vietnam War, but it is unclear who used it first.
Mm-hmm. Told you. The fact that Stardew Valley, you can break up a soldier and his girlfriend named Jody. I feel like someone knew.
Well, there's also Jody was Joe the Grinder, a blues singer who used to croon about a disreputable man who cuckolds prisoners and soldiers by stealing their wives and girlfriends. Yeah, the grinder comes from 19th century slang for sex. Jody literally grinds up on and then in your girl. By the end of the war, his name had been shortened to Jody, then Jody, which stuck, and everybody knew who Jody was.
Yeah, see, I was right.
The more you learn. We also we finally watched the new One Piece live action.
Yes.
What were your thoughts? I liked it a lot more than you did, I think.
Was that the end of the
That's the end of the first season, yeah.
I feel like it's not their I think it's something their fault, but they left out a lot of important things that like build on it later. And
I don't get why they're so obsessed with having these really short seasons.
I think it was more the budget wise, because like you all the different locations and things, like you have to film on all those different places and like costumes and all that had to cost a ton of money because they only got like 8-ish hours of content out of it. Mm-hmm. But they were in like 15 different villages and different like landscapes and different like people.
They could have easily made
and like sets, lot of the extras, like you can't use them again. Like all the people that were stuck in that circus tent, are you going to use them again at the restaurant? No, you need new people. You
just change their makeup and outfits, and nobody will even notice.
So I feel like that a lot of the budget went towards that.
But also, usually those extras are like not paid. Like it's just like a volunteer role, basically.
Maybe, but you know what I mean, though, is like there's a lot of logistical parts of it that probably took up a majority of it. But I feel like they did leave out like a good amount of things. Mm-hmm. They changed stuff, which is fine. You're going to change stuff to make it like fit your story better. But I feel like if you're going to change stuff that like takes out a lot of the content, like, and doesn't even have like key characters in there. Mm-hmm. Like you remember the hypnotism guy that's in the animated?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't in this one, but like later on in further seasons, he comes back as a Marine and he's pretty important as the Marine. So like if they never introduced him now, are they just going to randomly throw him in later that we're supposed to know him? Or
yeah, I mean, they seem to be pushing Buggy pretty hard.
Yeah, they and Buggy was in a lot more
Mhm.
episodes than he was ever in the show.
But I wonder if it's just because they have to fight with some of the what is it called, like inconsistencies in the original One Piece like animation. Like, it's been going on for so long, not everything was planned for. So maybe they're trying to like fit this story together in the context of like the future story.
I don't know. They also in the show in the live action they changed Buggy's powers, like fundamentally changed it. Like in the show he can fly and like and his body parts can all fly around and
Hmm.
whatnot as long as his feet stay on the ground. But in the live action his feet were flying around too. So I was like, that
Oh,
was his one weakness. That's how they beat him both times, is they grabbed his feet because they were stuck on the ground. like,
I completely forgot about that.
like that's how they beat him like both times. That's why I was like, what? Okay. Like it didn't make any sense to me. I was like, all right, well, whatever.
Well, I really liked it.
I thought it was good, but I think they changed a lot of stuff to like try and set it up for later seasons,
Hmm.
which just like felt like they were like, yeah, we don't like the way that One Piece actually starts out.
But
We're
I
gonna
left my
change some
expectations
shit.
low because I understand like they can't do a 1-to-1. Like it's
Yeah,
One Piece, like so. But they haven't even gotten to the craziest characters yet. Like,
yeah. I don't know how they're gonna like do that. There's gonna be just so much CGI because like there's people in the current seasons that are just they're giant birds.
yeah,
Or there's a guy that's literally made of mochi. Like, what are we?
I
We're
haven't met
gonna,
that guy yet.
yeah. Like they have. If you put all the screen time together, him and Luffy have a 55-minute fight across like 30 episodes, probably. I don't know. Like, how are you gonna animate that or like live action that? Like, that's crazy.
God, I wish there was somewhere where like all the arcs were put together and you could just watch them without like the breaks.
Oh yeah, and like the actual the
Yeah, so like you watch the whole
recaps,
fight or something.
because you get to the middle of some of those the arcs and the recap on the episode is like 6 minutes and then you
Some of
have like
them,
15 minutes worth of
no,
episode and
some
you're like,
I've
all
seen the
right.
longest one I've seen is the recap, and one of them was like 9.5 minutes long, and I was like,
Yeah,
what about the rest of my episode? And I think I
yeah,
was
you
really
got,
pissed off about it because I was on a plane flying, and I was like,
yeah,
I've completely miscalculated how many episodes I need.
yeah. No, each episode it's really only like 15 minutes worth of content once you get towards like the middle of an arc. Like it's not long. You're like, oh shit.
I gotta finish One Piece.
Yeah, we're still in the middle of the Dressrosa arc, aren't
Yeah.
we? You have no idea. We'll have to look.
Yes. Where the flamingo guy
The
and the
flamingo guy,
island with the
yeah,
little people,
yeah. Yeah, that's
and
the
they just had
one.
like a big fight.
Yep, that's the one.
Oh, we haven't watched Shangri-La Frontier.
No, we haven't. Let's see what episode we left off on. I don't even know if it's gonna pop up. All right. Yeah, we're in the middle of Dressrosa. We're on 636 apparently.
Ugh, I gotta keep watching. Do you want me to wait for you or just keep watching?
Huh? I don't know because there's
They're over 1,000 now.
yeah, we're 400 episodes behind. I really want to like watch it with you though because there's so many important parts and things that happen.
Well, let's watch it
We just
tonight.
never have like the time to watch that many episodes in a row, you know.
You can watch like 4 tonight.
Yeah, something like that. Again, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Go watch One Piece, y'all.
We need to catch up on some other shows too. We're behind. My philosophy is One Piece is its own demon because we were already like 700 episodes behind, right? So I'll
Yeah.
wait for you on that one. But my other philosophy is if we were watching a show together and we watched like the first 10 episodes or whatever, and then we don't watch it for a period of over 3 months, I just watch it by myself because I'm like, yeah, it wasn't important enough for that we continue it, you
Mhm.
know. But if it's something that I know we're both interested in, then I'll wait. But like I select it by the anime, whether I watch it without you or not.
Mm.
Because like 90% of them, I'll scroll back through my watch list. I'm like, I'm only like 2 episodes from finishing this. I'm like, why didn't I just finish this? And I
Yeah,
was
just
like,
finish it.
oh, because we started it together, and it was like last watched in like 2021. I'm like, no, I should
I
probably
guess I'll
just
finish
finish
it.
it. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'll
Yeah,
finish
I
it.
don't mind that. There is also more dramatic stuff. That documentary Quiet on Set came out. Everybody online's been talking about it. Oh my god.
Everybody online.
I don't know how to say it other than oh my god. Like I knew like you going in, it's about like like child sexual abuse and things like that happening to these young actors on TV sets and things like that. But it was just so much worse than I even like. There were parts of, especially like episodes 2 and 3, where I was literally just staring at my computer screen, my hands over my mouth, like just like shocked and feeling so bad for them. And I saw a quote that really stuck with me, and somebody said they gave up their childhood so we could have ours. I was like, that sucks.
Which of those shows was the best show?
I really like Drake and Josh personally. Me and my sister used to watch that together a lot.
Yeah.
I also really liked iCarly. Didn't really like Sam and Cat or Victorious that much.
Yeah, I didn't like those ones either.
Even as a kid, they felt weird, you know?
Zoe 101 was just okay, I feel like. But I like Drake and Josh, I think, the best out of those ones.
Yeah, so it really hurt knowing, like, what he was going through, like, and nobody knew. But it's a really good documentary. If you can handle that sort of stuff, then I'd say watch it. Like, it shows that we really need to do a lot more to protect children in the industry. Like, seriously.
You say we like you're in that industry.
Well, I wanted to be an actress, and so I feel like people should care about those sorts of things. Like, these are the children and actors that are, you know, giving us our entertainment and things like that. And if we want them to continue being able to produce that entertainment for us without them getting like traumatized and seriously hurt, then we as a society should make sure that they're protected just like anybody else would be.
I don't think they're special just because they're on TV. I think it should apply to everybody, but
Child labor, man.
It's legal because your parents were nearby.
Your mother was in a nearby room while you were doing all these things. It just, and what really shocked me about that too is the amount of like parents that were like, oh, this happened, but I didn't tell the police because I didn't want my child's career to be risked, or I didn't want them to think I was a bad mom. And it's like, well, you're already there, you know, like if you have that thought, like,
yeah, no, that's
and it was like they also showed that like 3 pedophiles alone were arrested in the same year from Nickelodeon.
Did you watch that entire apology video interview thing?
No, did you go back and watch it later?
No, I didn't know if you watched it though.
No, I don't need to hear what Dan Schneider has to say.
Or I only watched the first like minute of it though.
It's like, I know now not to sexually harass people at work. Like, I didn't know better then. Sir, you've been in the business for over 20 years. I think you know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate.
He's like, I want to issue some apologies to everybody. And you're like, yeah, that's going to make up for you making them touch you every day.
There's a reason why none of his other projects have gotten off the ground since then. But yeah, go watch that if it's something you can handle. I also recommend I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. It's connected a little bit to this story, and they include some of her clips from that.
Is that a documentary or is that just a book?
It's a book that Jeanette McCurdy wrote. Basically, Jeanette McCurdy's mother was like really abusive.
I remember reading like articles about the book, but I've never actually looked into the book itself.
I have it on Kindle if you want to read it. But she like was forced to become an actress basically because her family was like destitute.
Yeah.
But her mom was like a hoarder, and her mom would make her shower with her until she was like 20 years old. Like would like inspect her body and stuff like that, and like make her diet and make her bleach her teeth and just all these things to make her like the perfect person her mom wanted her to be. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, she was also dealing with like the abusive and weird sexual behaviors at Nickelodeon. So just like a really bad, weird combo. But the book is really good. Also really hard to get through, but like it's a very poignant memoir and like her journey through therapy and stuff.
Can you say those 2 words again for me?
Poignant memoir? One
more time.
Why? Am I saying it wrong?
No, I just needed to know what they were.
Poignant?
You're a little too soft.
Am I saying it wrong?
So go for it.
Poignant?
Poignant?
Is that not how you say it?
Huh? Go ahead. What is
memoir?
It? Okay.
Why are you having me repeat it?
Well, I thought I heard it wrong the first time. What was it?
Stop. You're making me feel really self-conscious right now.
I'm just asking.
Why did you say that?
It's definitely, the G is definitely not a G in that word. It's definitely poignant.
Poignant.
See?
I've never heard somebody else say it out loud, okay?
I'm just saying.
Poignant.
Poignant.
Probably French.
Probably.
Listen, whatever. Point being, yeah, I would highly recommend that. And don't be a pedo. Thank you.
Mhm.
Your turn.
What happened? Oh, it's my turn. Um, let's see what happened to me this week. First, it was Monday. Then it was Tuesday. Skipping ahead a few days. It was Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, all right. What was it? Oh, I got into a car accident this week.
And you didn't tell me?
I waited to specifically see your reaction
What
because I
happened?
knew we'd be recording together this week.
What happened? In your car? Or
Yeah, yeah, no, in my car.
is your car okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. But
Clearly you're fine.
yeah, that's why my bag's.
You
Anyway,
didn't tell me that.
so
Oh my God, Jordan. How could you not tell me that? When did that happen?
I was waiting for the podcast.
What day of the week did this happen
It was story time.
What day did it happen?
Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know.
It's Sunday.
Well, yeah, I had to wait for the podcast.
My God. Okay, what happened?
I had to wait for the podcast.
Was it your fault?
No, I'm not a bad driver. What kind of accusation? Oh my gosh. Here's what was going on. So I was doing this road thing, right? Where I was going vroom, and there were these cars, right? And they were also going vroom. And so I was coming up to this stoplight, and the stoplight turned red. So all the cars in front of me stopped. So I was like, all right, I'll stop too. So I stopped, right? But I stopped maybe like 3 or 4 feet before, like when I would have normally stopped. So I stopped a tiny bit early, but still like just slowly roll. I didn't slam on my brakes.
Yeah.
I just slowly rolled and then stopped a little bit early. You might be asking why. Are you afraid of the car in front of you? No, I'm not Ripley. So I stopped early because there was a car trying to come out of a driveway and it's a super busy street.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'll just stop a few feet early so he can come out onto the street because it's a red light anyway.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to avoid that situation where I'd pull up just enough to where he'd be like, directly
Sandwiched,
next to
yeah.
me. So it would just be me staring at this guy that was like, and he's just staring back at me like, you asshole, you didn't let me in. So I stopped. The guy pulls out in front of me. It's a really short light. Like I know it's a short light. So I'm like, yeah, I'll let him in, right?
Mhm.
He gets out in front of me. By the time he gets out in front of me, the light's already green and there's only 2 cars in front of him. So all 3 cars start going. So I start going and then immediately have to stop because someone rear ends me. And I was like, you motherfucker. I was on my way to work. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So I was like, like, I don't want to deal with
What did he
this.
say?
No. Her.
What did
She. What? What's wrong?
Of course. What did she say?
I got out and I put my hazards on. It's a 1-lane road, so other people, like, I don't know if they saw or what, but like she just sat there and in her car. But the other people behind us start driving around because they were like, oh shit, whatever.
Mhm.
They drive around and they start driving off. I'm like, man, of course I only have the fucking dash cam in the front, not the back. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm like, at least the dash cam will show that I didn't like stop aggressively or anything, right? And so I got out and I looked at it and I was like, motherfucker, I'm already like pretty close to being late for this shift. And I'm like, if normally like half my job at one location, if I'm late a little bit, nothing's going to happen. Right. But this other part that I was going to, I have to relieve somebody. Like
Mhm.
I'm going to somewhere where like they're waiting on me in
Mhm.
order to like go home for the day. And they're getting off like a 13-hour shift and they're only waiting for me to show up
Yeah,
so that they
Jesus.
can leave. Right. And I was like, I really don't want to fucking deal with this. I don't want to call that guy and be like, hey, I need you to stay an extra like fucking hour while I deal with this bullshit, So I'll go around in the back. She rolls down her window and she goes, "Okay." And I was like, I love it here. And and I was like, no, you hit me. And she looked at it and I was like, and she go, oh, and she backs up a little bit, right? Because she's still like against my car. She backs up a little bit and I look at it and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave. And so I looked at it and I was like, it's not worth my time. There was like, her car was more fucked up than mine. Like the whole front of her car was like cracked in
Yeah.
half. And I was like,
That's what you get for hitting a big ass car like yours.
I don't know what. And she's like, okay. And like, she didn't understand that the cars had touched each other. So
She's
I told her
pretending not to understand that she hit you and she was using
Um,
the Spanish to get away with it.
I don't know. I told her to back up a little bit so I could take pictures and send it to my insurance because I was like, it's not like a one thing, right?
Mhm.
I was like, I still don't want to deal with this. Still in the middle of the street. And I was like, it's not an emergency. We can pull off to the side. But she backed up like a foot. And I looked at it. The whole front of her car is like cracked in half. And like, I'm like, yeah, serves you right. And I look at my car and there's like a scratch, maybe like a 1/4 inch on like the paint. And I was like, it's not even worth my time. And I just got back in the car and drove off to work. I'm like,
Yeah.
you have fun. I'm like, have fun fixing that without fucking insurance. Like, it's on you. And I drove off.
Yeah. So when I got into that accident a little while ago, I felt so bad because like my car just has like the paint scratch and a little dent in it, you know, but it's silver, so like it's fine.
Yeah.
And it's just cosmetic. But I fucked that guy's light up. Like I fucked that guy's tail light up, and then
Yeah,
it was
because
like
you kept driving.
it was like $4,000 for him to get it fixed. I checked with my insurance. I was like, oh my god, I felt so guilty.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so I was in a car accident this week.
I wish you would tell me like when it happens.
No, I wasn't hurt, so it was fine.
So I told you when mine happened, and I wasn't hurt.
Yeah, but you had to file insurance, and it was also your fault, and you were freaking out.
I was.
That's why you called me.
I was having a panic attack.
I was having a motherfucker. I don't want to deal with this moment, and I didn't. And I was like, nah, whatever. And I just got back in the car.
I'm gonna start
and
doing
drove
that
off.
when I get into accidents.
Like,
Okay? ¿Qué pasó?
Yeah, okay. I'm like, no, I don't care.
No hablo inglés.
Like she backed up, I saw it, and I was like, hey, your car's fucked up. And I got in my car and drove off, and she's like, eh. And I saw her like, I saw her get out of her car like she half understood, and I was like, yeah, now you're just a lone woman getting out of her car in the middle of an intersection, like you do you. I just drove off. I'm like, whatever.
Well, I'm glad you're okay. Like
stupid. Like I didn't even feel it. I heard it. I heard the plastic like going, and I was like, and I look in the mirror. I'm like, she is way too close. I bet she hit me. And that is what happened. But don't worry, I already named the episode. And
is this your first one?
First what?
Car accident you've been in, like as a driver?
As a driver?
Yeah.
I mean, technically no, but the last one I wasn't even in the car. Like somebody hit my parked car.
Oh, did you tell me about that?
I think so, but I was in college. My car was parked outside, and the four of us were renting this house. But there's only 2 spots in the driveway, and then there's a gravel driveway on the side. So whoever got like to the house last or whatever would just park on the street, which is fine because the street's pretty wide, and the edge of the road it's gravel. So like 2/3 of my car are not even on the road. Mm-hmm. It's literally just like the door and the wheels, you know. Well, I'm sitting at home and I get a knock on the door and I'm like, oh, all right. So I open it and it's the neighbors from across the street. And they were like, well, it finally happened. We backed into that car that's always parked there. I'm like, what do you mean it finally happened? I'm like, first of all, if you were aware that it was a risk, why didn't you tell me sooner? Hey, can you park a little bit over or a little somewhere else? Because we're afraid we're going to hit your car. Totally understandable. Mm-hmm. I can move it. Or if you were aware that it was an issue, maybe be a little more fucking cautious about hitting a parked car. You know, I was like, what? I
do remember you telling me that. But I remember how wide that street was. Like there was so much space in between cars if there were 2 cars parked.
I don't think you ever came down and visited that house.
Was it a different house?
Did you come down to that house? Oh no, you were there. Yeah. You did come down. Yeah, okay. I don't know why I didn't think so.
But yeah, I remember the road being pretty wide.
Yeah, no, it was standard fucking width. No, but I went over and he's like, oh, I own a body shop. I can do this. And I was like, look, I'm just going to go through the insurance, man, because this is like, it's easier that way, right? So the insurance adjuster or the claim adjuster, whoever, he came out and he took a bunch of pictures of it because I guess their insurance needed the pictures. Mm-hmm. I sent all the pictures to mine. And so then he's like, yeah, this will, clearly, I mean, you were parked here. Their story adds up to your story that you were just parked here and they hit you. I'm like, I'd like to see them claim something else. Yeah, like, I don't know.
Like I was inside my house.
Yeah. So then he's like, yeah, all right, well, you'll get a check or in the mail to your blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, to get it fixed, you know. I was like, all right, sounds good. Well, they sent me that check and it was like $2,000. And I was like, the door, he hit the driver's door, but it still opened perfectly fine. Like it was only cosmetic damage. Mm-hmm. He only hit it like it wasn't impeding like the window or anything. Like everything worked perfectly fine. And I was actually like 2 or 3 weeks away from moving back to mm-hmm. To Vegas after college. So I was like, you know what? Sounds like I got $2,000 to help me move. Like that's what I used this for. Never got that fixed and then sold the car anyway. I'm like, it's still dented.
Yeah. That's kind of weird to me that they sent you a check. Like My insurances that I've had always just like make you go somewhere and like pay the people that repair your car. Like they've never given me a check for it.
No, he I think they didn't have like a main insurance company. It was some like off brand like little insurance company that they had. So he's like, yeah, we'll send you the cashier's check for it. And I was like, okay.
Old fashioned.
Well, it was cashier's check because they made them pay for it because it was their fault. It's like it's like your insurance doesn't cover most of it. So they got money from them and then gave me the cashier's check. I'm like, cool, I'll take it.
My insurance just covers.
Mine does too. It covers accidentals. That's what it's for.
Yeah, I need that.
Required. Mm-hmm.
And what are you making for dinner tonight, Jordan?
I'm sorry. Is this a interrogation? What kind of question is that?
No, I just thought you might like to share with our audience. Like,
what is it called? Chicken something? Chicken biscuit
something.
Yeah, chicken and biscuit cobbler is what
chicken
it's called.
Biscuit cobbler.
That's the one. It's basically just chicken and carrots and other vegetables, and you cook it down real quick, and then throw it in a pan and put some biscuits around it, and call it good.
And that's that.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll be good. But I think that's about all the time I got, unless you got more you want to talk about.
No, just been playing Power World and The Sims and writing my book and hoping to not have a mental health burst.
The book's coming out next month. You heard it here first. Ripley's nodding along in poignant.
My job is taking so much of my mental energy that like finishing this book has been the hardest fucking thing I've ever done. Like I keep writing a little bit at a time, but it's not as much as I know I could do if I weren't so exhausted. But I know how I want to finish it now, so it's okay. The descriptions you put are so interesting.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
But yeah, and I'm also scared to publish it.
What are you scared? What are you scared of? What are you talking about?
What if nobody buys it?
What do you mean?
And it sucks.
So, did you have fun writing it?
For the most part, yeah.
Then shut up and publish it. Who cares?
But like,
and the only way that people know it sucks is if they buy it. Oh, gotcha with that one, didn't I?
But I can't make an income for myself if my books suck. They need to be good.
Why? If people buy a terrible book, they still bought it.
They can return it.
Did you return Iron Flame?
No.
Exactly. Shut up.
I DNF'd Iron Flame. I could not make it through like 5 pages. See? Like it just did not like it.
Mm-hmm. Still paid for it though.
But you're right. Okay, so the book will be coming out. Don't worry. I'm taking care of it.
Are you trying to have it out before the wedding or after?
My goal would be to have it out by the Bachelorette, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah. I believe in you. Schedule some days off and go with it. Like the wind. Whoosh.
I will.
All right, do that, Joe.
Okie dokie. So this has been Mindless Prattle.
Artichoke. Oh, wait. It wasn't okie dokie artichoke?
No.
Oh, well, let's start it again.
Okie dokie. Thank you guys so
much. Oh, you messed it up again.
Okie dokie artichoke. Thank you so much for listening to Mindless Prattle. We've been your hosts, Jordan and Ripley. Don't worry, I probably won't strangle him after this. If you liked what you heard, or even if you didn't, then leave a message. You can go and get your message on the podcast, or
you can go and get it on there.
Tell us how much you hate us. Tell us how much you like us. Go follow us on social media. I promise I'll start trying harder.
Oh, whoop, man.
It's the depression. I can't help it.
Oh, we got little test clips coming out. It'll be fun.
At least we still record the episodes. Some people just stop their podcast.
You're with that much ever. Yeah, it's like what is it? It's like 70% of podcasts stop after like within the first 5 episodes or something like that.
Yeah. Is it weird to recommend a podcast on our podcast?
No, you've done it before. What?
Okay, well, so I told you I started watching or listening to this podcast called Narcosis Into the Deep. There's the girl who runs it, or the woman who runs it, her name's Alex, and she's like a certified diver, and she just covers like diving disasters. Like I listened to her first few episodes about the Blue Hole, and there was an episode about the first like recorded case of mutiny that's in 1987, like in a long time, that people got charged for. Jacob's Well, which I learned is an hour outside of Austin, so
Yep.
I just like learning about disasters and things like that. So,
Mm.
but her podcast is like, it's not like tiny, but you know, it's still a newer podcast gaining traction. So I was
Oh, like
like,
ours.
yeah. So I was like, you know, I'd like to share it. If you're into underwater stuff and diving disasters, then I would recommend Norcosis. I'm really enjoying listening to it. And the episodes are short, they're like 20 to 30 minutes max usually. So you can listen to it like on the way to work or like on the break or something like that. It's really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
All
that's
right.
my suggestion.
Good. Do the outro.
We already did the outro.
No, you kept talking. The outro's last, remember?
Okay. Thank you again for listening.
Artichoke. Oh, wait.
Okie dokie, artichokey.
You're ruining my whole life right
This
now.
has been an episode of Mindless Prattle. Follow us, like us, or do whatever. Okay, bye. You gotta say bye, Jordan.
All right. Get out of here, kid. Learn how to swim.
No.